All right, so we're gonna go over bench press today and many other things. Did we blast out the 5-3-1 video?
We did.
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
just to reiterate, like we want to start, bench is gonna be a focus today, but like I said, a lot of other things too. When you guys get to the 5-3-1 program starting next week, that's something we're gonna be using consistently for bench. We're starting with bench, then March is gonna be the hex deadlift, and then we're gonna get to a box squat. Just to give you some background on it, if you didn't watch the video yet, Jim Wendler, who was a big power lifter, used to study a lot of his stuff. When he stopped competing, right, and it gets to a point where you just can't lift these maximal weights or your body just gets really banged up, he still wanted a way to train and get stronger and have something to strive for. So what he put together, which is really genius, you take your projected 1 rep max, which we got for you guys doing your 5. So projected 1 rep max, let's say it's 200%, or 200 pounds, excuse me. We take 90% of that for your 5-3-1. That's the number we're basing all your reps on. That'll be hanging on the racks. The 90% is, it accounts for, you guys have stressors, you might have little injuries, like we're not always gonna be at 100%. So you take 90% of that. And then week 1, it'll tell you the exact weights. You'll have 5 reps at a certain percentage. The weight's gonna be there. That's probably gonna seem easy. Set 2, week 1, 5 at a little bit higher percent. Probably not gonna be that hard. The third set, week 1, is 5 plus. It's the highest percentage that week, and you rep it out. Get as many as you can. Week 2, right? And this will all be out there, just to give you an idea though. It's 3 reps, 3 reps, 3 plus. And all those percentages are higher than week 1. That last set, many as you can. That's gonna be your personal record. Week 3 is 5 reps, 3 reps, 1 plus. So those are gonna be higher weights, right? As many as you can on that last set. Then when we recycle, come back to the beginning, if it's an upper body lift, so for us bench press, we bump up your projected max 5 pounds. And now week 1, so sometimes depending what weight you're starting with, the weights will shift. It might be the same weight if your weight is lower right now, your projected max. But the point is week 1, when you get to that third set, beat the reps you got the first week 1. So you're always competing with yourself. It's a fun way to train. That's the exact system I used when I had to go to bench press 405 right before Colt was born. I got to 400 and then he was born and it went south, but that's the system I used, to get to that type of weight. So it's really cool. It'll be a fun way to train. Great way for us to gauge your strength, and weaknesses. Danny, you got anything you want to say before we dive into it?
No, I'm just excited to go over the bench press today with you guys. I hope that you guys can come away with at least 1 to 2 things today that when you get into a small group training session, you feel stronger, you feel more confident, right? That's what this is all about. It just kind of takes us out of a session. We're in more of a learning environment. We can spend some more time on technique, maybe common mistakes, and just questions that you guys have that we can help you with.
And as you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. Doesn't matter if you think it's silly or not, right? Just ask the question. Somebody else probably has the same question. The clients that watch this are probably gonna have the same question, so don't hesitate. What we'll start with, we'll just do some kettlebell work before we get to the bench, okay? So the kettlebells, it's very easy to mess up the form. So what exercise do you guys think of when you think of kettlebells? Swing, right? It's a primary exercise people are gonna do with them. So what we're gonna do here, don't grab something too light. You don't have to go crazy with the weight either. So everybody's gonna grab a kettlebell and we'll just spread out, all right? All right, does anybody know, there's basically 5 primary movements the body can do. Does anybody want to take a crack? Does anybody know one of them?
Bending?
Well, a hip, it's called different. That's a hip hinge. That's what we're going to work on here. So a hip extension or hip hinge is your RDL pattern, your deadlift pattern, right? That's a hip hinge. If you can set your hips, you can do anything in the gym. This is something that should be taught in phys ed. I know from when I was a phys ed teacher, I used to teach it to the kids. That's actually how I learned the progression I teach with it, because I had to explain it to 1st and 2nd graders. But hardly anybody learns this movement, right? The hip hinge. What other movement patterns do we have? So you got a hip hinge, so think that's the back side of your legs. What else can the body do? As far as movements, just think of movements.
Like overhead?
we're pressing, right? We can press overhead, press horizontally, bench press in between. What else can it do? So it can hip extend or hip hinge. It can push. Squat, so we call that like knee dominant. So your squat pattern. Okay, bending at the knees. There's 2 more. Polling, right? Same thing. You can pole vertically, any angle you can pole. And the last one is carries, right? And then you have cores kind of mixed in with that, but that's it. You guys have over 600 muscles in the body, 206 bones. You don't need to memorize the muscles. You can't isolate a muscle. But even if you weren't here and you didn't know what to do, if you just pick those patterns, and okay, I'm picking it, here's from my push, here's from my pull, here's my hip, and ran it like a circuit, you'll be way ahead of 99% of personal trainers out there, right? So on the hip hinge, Renee, can you just demonstrate a couple swings? So Dana, I'll let you coach her up. Let's see, just observe what she's doing, guys.
Okay.
All right, good.
All right, rest. So what I would say on the swing, we're getting a little bit more knee bend than we would like, right? So we want to think, right, this is a hinge movement, so that hip extension. So my knees, I'm going to have a soft bend in them, but I want to get most of that movement from back here, okay? The more knee bend I have, I'm going to start to feel more quad, so the front side versus that back side. So what I would say is pick up the kettlebell again, and what I want you to think about on here, just a soft bend in the knees. I want you to reach your hips back towards the wall behind you, okay? And then real quick, come on up for me. Just one thing I'm seeing with your start position is with the kettlebell, if we're too low, right? That's when we're gonna bend more. We might use more of our back. We wanna think about this zone here. It's like a triangle, okay? I wanna get that kettlebell right through there, okay? So I don't wanna go too low. If I had a band around my knees, I would hit that band. So I wanna stay here. That's gonna allow me to get more of that hinge. All right, so let's try it again. Good, good, push those hips back. Good, hit my hand as hard as you can. Good, I'm gonna throw it down a little bit for you. Good, much better. It's better, good.
That makes sense, guys? So let's see everybody just do a couple swings, and then we'll add a few things to that as well.
Good. Nice, good.
Come a little bit higher on it.
Reach your
like
hips back a
bit
little
higher
further.
up
There
in
you
the
go.
groin.
Pop it up. See that power, good.
All right,
Nice.
good, relax, relax. Guys, so what Dana was saying too, like, and you'll, right, Dana will have certain, she's been studying this stuff probably as long as me. But your coaches will have different cues sometimes, right? So we're working as a staff to tighten that up. And we never know what's gonna click in your head, right? So remember that triangle Dana talked about? Another one I like is you have a seam on your pants. Attack your seam, right? Attack your seam. This is, so you guys know your RDL. This is your hip hinge. This is just an explosive RDL, okay? Explosive RDL. If you were gonna let go of the kettlebell at the top of this, where do you think that kettlebell, the projection should go? Up? What else?
What are you thinking? Get your arms out.
Ideally,
let it
we
go.
want it going out. Not up, we want it going out, right? So you'll see a lot of people on this too will like short arm it. And some people learn different ways. I always believe you keep the arms extended when you're doing this. If you're gonna project it out, like that's where you're driving it. It would fly across the room, okay? So about eye level. So we're gonna do a few more. You should feel it in the back of the leg. What Dana was doing with Renee is a great way that can autocorrect this, right? So if we see you bending too much, coach will be there. Just hit my hand as hard as you can. We'll throw it down. Because you don't want to think on this. If it's too light, you're not going to be able to get the form because you're going to muscle it, right? So when we speed it up coming down and just attack the seam. What Dana said about the knees stay slightly bent. They're a soft knee. You don't bend them any more than that. All right, so let's do a few more. Me and Dana will walk around and just give you an idea what that feels like. Good. Hit me up here, hard as you can. Hit me. There you go.
There you
Hit
go.
me. Good.
Good.
There you go. Hit me at the top.
Good.
Good.
Feel that whole foot into the
Hit me.
ground.
Good.
Nice.
There you go. See that?
Nice.
That's good. Hit me. Hit me.
Yeah, so I want you to feel
There
that
you go.
whole
Attack
foot
that seam.
in the
Attack the
ground.
seam.
So if we go too
you go.
much in
Get
the
the
heels,
chest
we're going to
facing
go
the
off
ground.
balance,
Wow.
right? So think about big toe,
How's your
heel.
back feeling? Tight. Good.
There you go.
All right, guys, pretty good.
Good. Nice, Eric.
So anything else on that, Dana?
When you were explaining about the arms before, it just made me think of something. So can you just stand at the top, what
Yeah.
that would look like? So you guys look at Kyle at the top of this, it's like a vertical plank position, right, that he's in. So if we put him on the ground, he's in a plank position. That's what we want to look like at the top of that movement, okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll see people, there's slight bend, and they'll kind of stay here, all right? Or they'll go up too high. Again, think about shoulder level, vertical plank. Okay, that's your top position.
That's good. Any questions on that, guys? Yeah, I like to squeeze them at the top. You know, even if you guys are doing an RDL, just from my bodybuilding days, always trying to get that mind-muscle connection, you're going to feel it either way. But if you really contract and squeeze, so at the top of this, and we'll do one more round of it, just practice at the top, squeezing your backside. Right? Remember what Dana said, fully locked out at the top. Fully locked out at the top. So just practice about 5 reps on that, but squeeze your glutes at the top. Good. Drive that butt back. We're hinging at the hips.
Nice.
Squeeze the butt at the top. Just get it.
Awesome.
That's good, guys. That's good. So Rudy, I would just say you gotta get a little more chest facing the ground when you're at the bottom.
Good. Get those hips back a little bit more, Gabe. A little bit
There
more.
you go.
Reach
That's
up.
it.
Good.
That's it. Very good. So always, yeah, with the hip hinge, typically your chest is gonna be facing the ground. Right now, if we're not gonna go over too much of the squat today, but something we do with like the youth athletes, we have them, we're teaching them how to squat facing the wall. Why do you think we have them facing the wall? Like, let's go over to the wall. Everybody find a spot on the wall so you can experience this. So we're gonna be close, right? You wanna be, it's gonna feel weird. You're gonna be close. And what we're looking for is, okay, can we get down to the bottom of a squat? Elbows inside the legs and back up. So find that distance for you. It should feel a little awkward.
It's all right. It's hard, yeah. Good.
Okay, good.
Nice squats.
So if you're facing the wall, and you can use the wall for a lot of autocorrection, okay? Why do you think we do that? Yeah, and you have to, even to squat, you start with a slight hip hinge, right? The hips, a lot of people will squat like this. Like this, I can feel it because, you know, with my knee surgeries, this is how a lot of people will squat, right? But the wall is gonna stop that. You gotta shift back, right? So even when you're squatting, remember, there's a crack at the hips. Anything with that, Dana? Anything you wanna add?
No, it's
All right, any questions
Solid.
on that, the hip hinge? And there's a whole bunch of stuff we could do on it, yeah.
Does it matter if your feet are like this or turned out a little bit?
So what is, on any particular exercise?
No, like specifically on any kind of a squat. Like, do you want to have them parallel or?
So something I found out the hard way, right? Because some of the guys, particularly after my first patellar tendon rupture, a lot of the guys I was studying with powerlifting would say, okay, toe straight ahead and you got to spread the floor, right? So spreading the floor is good, but again, it was like a superpower with my knees because now I can feel any torque or something that's not right. So what I believe, and then we'll see, Dana might have something different, is you want, if you go like this, your knee to track right over your toe. So they're gonna be angled out slightly, right? It should feel a lot more natural that way, right? The knee come right over the toe. If I'm straight ahead and I try to push my knee out, you feel that torque. Anything on that, Dana?
No, I agree. I would say the same thing. You want those knees tracking over the toes, and everybody's going to have probably a little bit of a different stance. What feels more comfortable for you? I know I like a little bit of a wider stance in the squat, just again, better positioning for me. Some people like to go a little bit more narrow, which is fine, but just making sure slight, turnout, that's fine. And then those knees, like Kyle said, that's going to be key, tracking over the toes.
In any exercise you guys are doing, really try to get full range of motion, unless it's a barbell floor press or something, right, where it's designed not to do that. but full range of motion. So in a goblet squat, if you can't get your elbows inside your knees, go lighter. Get the form right first. Now, anybody know a tool that we could use if we're doing this? So I'll have them in here for Monday. We're going to be using them for a lot of stuff. If you weren't able to quite set the hips right, what could you do with your heels? If we wanted to use another tool to help shift the hips back. So it would actually be the opposite. We're going to go 2x4 underneath the heels. Yeah, so let me grab a 2x4. Again, every rack will have one of these sets because we're going to use them for bench press too. And you can use plates as well. But
Is there any more over there, Kyle?
we'll just use these. We'll just do a couple reps on each. Give that to Eric. Matt. We'll just do a couple. You guys can each get a couple reps. What you're going to do here, right? And like again, some of the kids that have never had any athletic background, you see the drastic difference when they do this, right? All of a sudden, oh, that's a lot smoother, right? It's a great training tool. So just try a couple body weight with the board.
Kyle, without the 2x4, right? Do you want to concentrate on your weight being flat across your whole feet, or more on your heels?
More in the heels.
More in the heels.
Yeah. But like if you think about an RDL, at the bottom, look what I could do with my toes. Right, so the weight is shifted back. On a squat, it's going to be a little more even, but the weight, again, because we're hip hinging, the weight should still be heel. We don't want to see the heels ever pop up off the ground. Right, now just push those hips a little bit back more, Rudy. There we go. So that's a great thing. If you ever have a day where you're not, you're just feeling tight in the lower body, grab a 2x4. Again, we'll have them at every rack. And you can use that. You can use it as part of your warm-up if you need to. You can use plates to elevate the heels. Any other questions on that? Okay, next thing, before we get to bench, we're gonna spend the most time on that. I wanna show you guys the reverse hyper back there. So we had that in Flemington for a while. We had it in the shed. So for a gym like this, right, you can't really put it into a session because only one person can use it at a time. But let's go back there. We'll give you a little background on that, and then we'll dive into the bench. You see on the side, there's a West Side barbell sticker. So the story behind this, does anybody know who Louis Simmons is? Louis Simmons? So there's a great, I think it's still on Netflix. You can find it. It's called West Side versus the World. So West Side Barbell is out in Columbus, Ohio. I went out there with Tyrone. I think that year I was trying to hit my bench press record to train. Strongest gym in the world. Louis passed away a few years ago. He was really always great to me. One thing that stood out to me with him, again, he was the most sought after strength coach. I mean, NFL team, everybody's going to him for consulting. Right before we got married, so I just opened the first facility on the other block. I would call all these guys and try to get in touch with them. And I would offer money. Hey, I'll pay you an hour. Let me just, ask you questions. Some of the guys would blow me off. So I called Louis. I was like, it doesn't hurt to call. Got back from our honeymoon. He had left me like one or two messages, and then he kept calling back until he got in touch with me. This guy that's the best in the world. Never would take any money from me. Actually, I have him in one of my books. I talked to him about 6 or 7 times at length. I'll see if I can get some of those recordings, because I would always record the call. So that was just awesome. He always stood out to me that he was so helpful. But anyway, Louis had a lot of injuries, right? Because again, you're training to be the strongest in the world. It's not a normal thing. You're going to get banged up. He taught me a lot about recovering from injuries and how to really speed that process up. But let's say it was in the 80s, I think. His back, he had broken it multiple times. But again, he's got a deadlift, squat. He wasn't going to give up what he loved. And he only had a 2nd grade education. There's a really good Joe Rogan podcast with him. He got kicked out of school in the 2nd grade for fighting so much. Never went back to school. But they had told him, hey, you got to stop. You can't powerlift anymore. He studied a lot of the Russian training. Like, they were always more advanced. And there's something called like bidation, right? Where you kind of open the joint up and get fluid in. So what Louis did, he took a rack like this, put a piece of plywood on top, and put ankle weights on. And he just laid on it and started swinging his legs. And all of a sudden, man, my back's feeling better. And he designed this machine based off of that. He has the patent. Like if you see a real one of these like this, there's ones that don't go underneath. Those aren't real hyper extension, reverse hypers. So he has the patent on these. So the idea is, I'll demonstrate and you can each try a couple reps. It's gonna feel awkward if you've never done it before. But when your legs swing under, it's opening up, even if you don't have any low back pain, it's opening up like those sacral joints, right? And you're getting fluid in there. You're rehydrating those discs. So it's a really cool thing. So the way you would do this, we'll take you could go heavier on this than you think, because it's kind of like a kettlebell swing. It's not a slow movement, it's controlled. So you would get in to the strap, right? Get it right on your Achilles. Depending on your height, you either grab the first or the second one. You want to get basically your hip flexor up on here. So let me just move the mic over a little bit. So I'll get up here, okay, and I just start kicking into it. Now the key is, guys, I want this weight basically to be under my nose up here in the front. I want it to pull my legs underneath. If I'm trying to stop underneath, I'm not getting that vibration effect where it's opening the joint. Now notice how at the end, I start applying pressure to slow down. Don't just stop or it's gonna whack you in the shin, right? But if your back is ever tight or you just wanna keep a healthy back, just pop over here, hit some reps. I'll take a plate off each side and then you guys can each get 5-6 reps and then we'll go to the bench press. So it's easy to put the weights on, right? You take these off. They slide right on. Okay. Any questions on that before you try it? Again, it's gonna feel a little. You could do some other cool stuff on this. There's gonna be like pressure on your stomach when you do it. It's not gonna feel comfortable the first time you do it. You'll get used to it. And Dana, anything else on the reverse hyper?
No. Just a good way to get traction in your lower back.
Oh yes, awesome.
Yeah.
Mike's gonna get it on the Achilles. Okay, so make sure, yep, it's up around there. And you kind of pull yourself up. Yeah, and just start kicking into it, right? Keep tension on the strap the whole time. Good, you wanna see that weight, let it pull you under, okay? Let it pull you under. You kick into it and let it pull you under and start slowing it down, Mike. Start applying pressure to slow down. And bring it to a stop, and then you get off. What do you think? It might be up, your chest might be up a little bit here, depending on how you're holding it.
I'll try.
Yeah, you want to get the belly. Yeah, everybody try, just so you know, right? Because to get it on your Achilles. Okay, yep, and you're gonna pull yourself up. Okay, start kicking. Keep those legs straight. Good, and see the weight up here. Grab this one. Try to pull yourself up a little more. There you go. Okay, kick. See if you can see the weight up here. All right, and it's gonna open that joint down there. Okay, good. The second time you guys use it, it will feel much better, right? But it is the first time, it's like, oh man, the pressure. Anybody else want to try? Because a lot of times in the gym too, we don't have obviously a lot of machines in there. It's not our training philosophy. But if you don't know how to use something, a lot of people will never use it, even if it's a good tool, because they don't know how to use it. And you could always climb up if you needed to. Probably grab those ones. Good. Start kicking. Keep the legs straight, right? You just get. It's like it's a pendulum. You just get momentum going. Try to see the weight up here. Yeah, let it pull you under.
How many do you do?
I would normally do myself like 15 to 20 reps a set. Okay, start slowing it down. Bring it to a stop. Good. So usually I'll go higher rep, but again, you could go pretty heavy on this. Like once you get the feel of it, you could have 3 plates on there, no problem.
You're in front of me. You're in front of me. You're in front of me. I'm in line.
Yep, so get it on your Achilles, right? See if you can grab the far one. Good. Just start kicking it, keep the legs straight, yep, and just start kicking. You want to see the weight come pull underneath of you. Yep, and it's going to open up the joint down here. Great thing to rehab your back or just keep a healthy back. Yeah, because sitting all day, guys, you got, one of the reasons I never really put like overhead seated presses, I learned when I was bodybuilding, you have like drastically more compression on your discs when you're sitting. So think about if you're sitting most of the day. This will be good, man. This will be great. Yep, you just get on your Achilles, see if you can grab the second one. Good. Just start kicking into it. Let it, good. Let the weight swing underneath. You want to see it all the way up. Let it pull you under. Keep those legs straight. Yeah. Keep them straight. Yep. And this is another way to work that hip hinge, right? It's just like a reverse pattern. You could do this light and really slow. Like you could work this a lot of ways. If you're just looking for the back though, we want it to be the pendulum effect. Good. How's that feel? Start slowing it down.
That's good.
Yeah. Anybody else want to try it? Renee? Because you won't see these things.
He's
What-
like,
Yeah. You could climb up, yeah, if you want to do that. I do that sometimes. You could climb up like Renee did and then put your feet in too. Okay? But it's a great, you're not going to hardly see these things anywhere, right? But it's a great tool. Okay, kick, good. Let the weight come all the way underneath. Try to see the weight. Let it pull you under. Open up that joint. Good. Yeah, you do this and you get a stretch by Dana, you'll be 6'3". Good, relax. Start slowing down. Everybody good on that? Any questions? Dana, anything I forgot on that?
I was too far forward.
No, you nailed
You
it.
were saying I couldn't get the weight far
Underneath.
back, so I let myself slip.
Yeah, you got to
back.
find that. It's going to be like
I
in
was
your,
able to go farther
yeah.
underneath.
yeah.
It's going to be like right around your hip flexor, right? Your hip flexor's right here. That's roughly where you're going to be on that. Let's go over the bench press. We'll spend majority of the time on that, right? So decline bench, usually guys used to love doing that in the gym because they're stronger. Because now if I'm on a decline and I'm pressing here, it's a shorter range of motion than here or here, right? So that's actually one thing I hadn't, we wanted to go over in the notes, because this will apply to anything. Think of your lever arm, right? Real simple thing, right? So if I'm declined, it's closer to my body, right? I'm gonna be stronger. So think about if you had a kettlebell here, or you're holding it here. Which one's gonna be easier? Here, okay? So think about your push-ups and your inverse rows. How would you make a push-up easier? What would you change? Well, let's say you couldn't do it though on the ground, like you just did not have the strength. I hate going to the knees for it because me and Dana have talked about this. Rarely do you see anybody progress when they're doing the knees to a regular push-up. But if you are going from the knees, what did you change? So think about where the point on the ground versus my feet. Okay, so look at the lever, my body basically. Now if I go here, what did I just make shorter? Yeah, shorten the lever arm, right? You shorten the lever. Mm-hmm. So what we like to do for push-up, you go on an incline, right? It's like a decline press, but your body, so your hands on a barbell, feet are closer in. There's less distance. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like on an inverse row, how would you make an inverse row? Not adding weight, how would you make it harder? Move in further, right? Now you're getting closer to the ground, feet are further away from the pulling point. Mm-hmm. Make it easier, walk it out, right? And you guys can use that concept. Like if you wanted to keep a set alive. So the first coach I had, Scott Abel, he's coaching me for bodybuilding. He always talk about keep the set alive. So if we're doing band stuff, so come on over here and then we'll start progressing to the bench. Like let's say we're doing whatever, it's a really hard workout, I'm starting to fatigue, right? And I can't get any more. How can I keep the set alive? Start walking out, keep going, right? Walk out, keep going. Even for using like the bands, right? So just manipulate that lever arm. Like when you guys do the one arm snatch, have we done that in a while?
One arm snatch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So think about that too, right? What you'll commonly see, and it's kind of like the kettlebell swing in a way, if people go too light on that, they're not gonna get the form because they can just muscle it. But on a one arm snatch, it's a power exercise. I want this to stay like a zipper, real tight, boom, right here, right? The lever arm gets out here, that's completely different, right? So we want to keep it tight. You keep it tight to the body. So you got to know when to manipulate the leverage depending on what you're doing. Make sense? Okay, let's go over to the bench.
All right. So guys, when we're setting up for the bench press, I think this is probably the most important part, because if we don't set up properly in this, right, the set's over before it even begins, right, because we're just not in a good position. So if I started with this barbell and it was back here, and I just get underneath the bar, or underneath here, I grab it and I go, okay, my eyes aren't lined up, I'm here, okay, when I go to press, I have to now press backwards into it. If I'm in the wrong position, right, I might hit the bottom of the J hooks. So we want to always make sure when we're starting that this bar is rolled to the front of the J hooks, okay, so that's the first thing. We want to make sure also that the bench is in a good position where we can get our eyes underneath it, okay? So that's the first thing here. So I'm here, okay, my eyes are directly underneath the barbell. Barbell's rolled to the front. Now I'm in a good position, you know, to get set up. So Christina asked a great question about, you know, the arch, and we're going to go through this. I always think about the bench. There's a lot of things we kind of want to check the boxes on it. If you think of a power lifter, right, you're going to see that huge arch. And the goal for them, right, is to move as much weight as possible for one rep. So if they're here, they've got a lot, you know, more to travel. If I'm here, it's like and up, right? So will we have a little bit of an arch? A little bit. We'll go over that, but we're not looking for something like that where, you know, we want to keep our butt on the bench. But first things first is, again, bar setup, eyes underneath the bar. You have anything about that?
You guys know what Dana's referring to with the J hooks?
The J hooks?
I did that before where I set up and I went up and I hit the bar.
Yep, you hit it,
Oh,
and then you're all over, right? So,
yeah, that's a great setup. Yeah, that's good on the setup.
Okay.
Nothing else. Yeah.
Actually, can I ask you another question?
Sure.
So you guys changed the height, and I noticed the one behind you is at a different height. So,
yeah.
so how do you know what's the right height?
Lift off.
Yeah, yeah,
You don't want to bend too much.
yeah. You don't want it to be too high, right? Because then, let's just say you don't have somebody behind you. Ideally, we're going to be able to unrack this bar. Okay, so when I unrack it, I have a slight bend in my elbow. I'm here. I have my position. It's almost like a pullover. If it's too high, right now I'm not going to be able to do that. Again, it's going to probably get caught on this, and then we don't want it to be too low either. So I would say, in general, if we're looking at this, somewhere 11 and 12 is where we'd want to have the barbell set up for this.
Yeah, those are
so
too,
these look,
those are too low.
that
yeah.
looks a little too low, probably by one. And again, it depends on the person. If somebody has really long limbs, yeah, they might be able to go up one. Okay, somebody's a little bit shorter, maybe we need to drop it down one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be too low. Yeah. Yeah, it's a great question. Anybody have any other questions in regards to?
I sometimes struggle with arm placement.
Okay.
And I notice as I go down, I flare my elbows
Mm-hmm.
to try to push up.
Sure.
So if I bring them in, is that going to help my elbows from flaring, or do I bring them out?
Yeah, it's a good question. So when we're getting underneath the bar and we're starting with this, what I like to think, or a cue I like to use, is I want to bend the bar. So I want to bend it. That's going to kind of put me right in that position where the elbows are a little bit tighter to the body. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be out here, what you're saying, right? I don't want my elbows here at the bottom of that. So I want to grab the bar, and once I get in that position, here I'm thinking about I'm bending it and I'm pulling it down to my chest and then back up, right? So in terms of placement of the hands, again, we were talking about this with the squat earlier. Everybody's going to have a little bit of a different hand placement of what's going to feel comfortable for the shoulder. So one thing I like to do is kind of find the rough and the smooth part here on the barbell. Now I think this is a deadlifting bar. So, but usually it'd be a little bit wider, and I'll find that spot. I want to make sure I'm even there, and that's usually a good position, okay, for most people. Some people might like something a little bit more narrow. That's fine too, but I think the key is that our elbows aren't flared out, okay? So we're grabbing that bar, okay, I want to bend it, and then I'm pulling it down, right? Very similar to if we're doing a push-up, right? So if I'm in a push-up position, I'm setting up, I don't want to be here, okay? I want to think about my hands are like a dial. I'm turning those elbows in. Now that's going to put me in a good position, and I look like an arrow at the bottom of this, right? My elbow to my head to my opposite elbow, okay?
Yeah, what Dana showed, right? Your push-up form, what we tell the young guys is the same arm position that should be on the bench. Right? Another thing that should be taught in phys ed is hardly any kids that can do a regular push-up. They're all here, right? What Dana's saying with bending the bar, get another way to think about it, and we'll just practice this for a second. You pinch your shoulder blades together, right? Pinch them together, just try that. Like there's a piece of paper in them. So keep your arms out like you're gonna bench. You keep them like that the whole set, and that's the idea of what Dana's saying, to bend the bar. That's gonna stabilize your shoulders. A lot of people, when they get injured on bench press with their shoulders, it's because their arms are just floating. So boom, you always pack, you pack your upper back, we call it pack the back, and you're here. Keep it like that the whole time. Okay, when those shoulders are stable, anytime your body, a joint is more stable, it's gonna output more strength. Another way to think about it, right, like if you look at core. So let's say Renee comes over here. So we'll see this, right? Because all these concepts apply to everything, right? And this will apply to the bench too. So let's say she's a new client, she comes in and she can't, let's just do like a half squat, okay? Like she can't get down, I can't get to the bottom of the squat. Okay, try again, Renee. Okay, so a lot of times, we'll do this often. Okay, now lay on your back.
Like lay?
Lay on your back. Now just draw your knees into your chest. So now all of a sudden she's in a full squat. She has the range of motion. So what's the difference? Why is she shutting down? Why will you see some people shut down, right? If there's no restrictions injury-wise, what's the difference here versus when she's standing? Think of stability. You added core stability. So what I figured out rehabbing my first knee was when the knee didn't have the right range of motion, I started doing like Hatfield squats where I'm holding the rack right with the safety bar. So I added in the stability. All of a sudden the knee could go through more of a range of motion. I was adding core stability in, right? So anytime a joint is stable, you output more strength. Think about the NHL, when those guys fight, you can get up. Thank you. When NHL, when they get in a hockey fight, what's the first thing they do? Gloves off, then what? They grab the other guy's jersey to stabilize. You throw a punch on ice, there's no stability, it's gonna be weak. Think about firing a cannon out of a canoe, no stability, it's not gonna work. Right, so what Dana's telling you stabilize, add stability in. Now all of a sudden, there's more strength. Automatically, you'll have more strength. Okay?
Yeah, so while we're on that, we'll go over to foot positioning and such. Something I learned in this mentorship I was in last year, they were talking about, I'll use the orange band for this. We're talking about bending the bar and engaging, right? Like our lats, our shoulders are nice and stable on this. I think it's important with any movement is just to be able to explore kind of like the right and the wrong positions, because then it brings more awareness to you guys when you are in a session, okay? Or let's say you're working out at home and you can start to see, okay, actually that doesn't feel as good, or I'm not as strong in that position. So one of the things that we talked about was the shoulder blades, okay? So if I'm here and I'm completely flat and I don't bend the bar, right? My shoulders are kind of rounded forward, right? My shoulders are rounded forward, shoulder blades are kind of falling forward, and now I'm putting a lot of pressure on the front side, all right? So what we want to see is we want to externally rotate a little bit, right? And that's that whole bending of the bar. So what he had us do is he took a band, and we've all done this before with a band pull apart, is we go palms up. Again, right away that's going to put us into more of that externally rotated position. And then all he had us do is pull the band apart, and you can see with my chest when I do this, right? I'm here, my back is flat, upper back is completely flat, and as I pull, I'm getting a slight arch here. Just holding that position, and that's the position that I want to be in when I'm pulling the bench, or when I'm pulling the bar down. So I'm not overly arched, my butt's still on the bench for that, but all that's teaching me is to stabilize that upper back. So we call that our T-spine, right? Is everybody thoracic spine? So pretty much it's upper and mid back. You'll see us do that in warm-ups, right? On the foam roller, getting that extension. That's all it is. It's just getting a little bit of extension, putting our shoulder blades, everything in the right position. And again, you can play around with this when you're setting up. So you're here, and all you can do is just, I'm flat. Okay, now I'm coming up a little bit. All right, and then you start to feel that, what I would say, almost not activation, but you start to feel this kind of tighten up, and that's where we want to be. We're going to be nice and strong there, and then we're coming back up. Does that make sense? So you guys can even try it out. If you want to all lay on a bench, you can take a band, all right, and kind of play around with that. Again, you would go palms up on this, and then you're just pulling. Okay, you can hold it at the bottom there for a second and see how that feels. You got a red band, I'll grab some more.
Dana, it's 11.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
There we go. Get some bands.
Okay.
Good, remember we want to go palms up on that, palms up.
Yeah, go that way, Gabe, yep. Renee, we'll get you another band. You can use there's red ones right here, Renee.
Right.
Renee, right here. There you go.
Good,
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
good. You feel something?
Taking
you
off?
feel back there? Okay.
Thanks for saying, dude.
So again, the chest should
Yeah,
just
no, it's
rise
great. It's
slightly.
Yeah, every couple months, yeah.
And we're
Yeah,
to
keep
hold
an eye
that.
out for the other
Good, you
stuff we
feel
got
that in
coming
here,
up.
Mike? That
You're
mid
welcome.
back. Okay, engaged.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Eric.
See you later. Good. Where do you feel that, Rebecca, when you do it and you pull and you're here?
Yeah.
That bottom position, that's where we want to be. Okay. All right. You guys can relax. But again, just a way, without using the bar, without lifting weight, for us to just feel where we want those shoulder blades to go, what we should be feeling in that upper back when we're setting up for the bench press. Where do you feel that, Rudy?
Yeah, my back.
Yeah, good. I want to see that chest just rise a little bit. Yep. It just should be just a slight arch. Butt stees down, good. So we're getting that extension. Really, we were talking about that arch a little bit more from that upper back, not from that lower back, okay? Cool.
Okay.
Any questions on anything with that, guys, in terms of shoulders, setup? Cool.
Good. You got to take off, right?
Yeah, I'll check my phone. Thank you.
All right, guys. Dana's got to run.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dana.
Yeah, of course, guys.
Awesome,
All
Dana.
right.
Thank you.
Of course.
Okay, so that's the setup, right? What Dana was saying with the grip. Always just check, make sure it's even. You'll see people, I see it all the time, and people aren't aware. Well, if you look at my arms, right? You guys see the difference? Look at the smooth part, right, or the rough part, completely uneven. So just check, make sure you're even. Now, when you guys are especially pushing those max rep sets, I would take a lift off from somebody. Okay, you count to 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay? When a lot of people will go right into it. So you have these things, is actin and myosin basically. They're in your muscles, right? And they're like these things, they clamp to each other. That's how a muscle contracts. Okay? So I always believe with the bench, you don't go right, let it set for a second. Unrack it, hold it for a second. Don't just go right into it. Let everything set up, right, with the nervous system and the muscles. So we have that, you unrack. Where do you guys think the bar wants to touch? Where should we touch the bar?
Lower part of the chest.
Real simple, cross your nipple line. That should be where you're hitting, right? We don't want to be up here. You don't want to be down here. It's going to be you want the bar to track. So just think of that, right? Straight down. Do you guys think the bench is what would you tell me? Okay, we know it's a pushing exercise, but if you had to say a body part, what would you say? If you had to say a muscle group, what do most people think of when they think of the bench?
Chest.
Chest? Anything else?
Tricep.
It's 80% tricep. So if you want it, it's not a chest exercise. Chest is designed to do this, fly motion. You could do this with some different techniques, constant tension for chest. But so if you want to get stronger in the bench too, get some extra tricep work in. Like we'll have that in February. Hey, at the end of the workout, just like the reverse hyper, if you got to hit that, hit 100 reps on bench dips or tricep press down. It's 80% of your tricep is involved in this. Okay, you good to stay or no?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Too cold.
Oh, what are you gonna do, run?
No, I was supposed to go out with my mom.
Oh,
She canceled
okay.
on me.
All right, that's cool. So, feet too. So remember what I was telling you guys about stabilizing the spine. especially when people get heavy weights on this. It's all relative, right? It doesn't matter if it's heavy for me or it's relative. You'll see people they're doing this or squirming, right? We can show you, we can elevate the feet on plates, right? You guys use 45 sometimes, right? Then like the 45-pound rubbers or something.
Yeah.
So we'll demonstrate that in a second. But you still want to squeeze your glutes, right? Squeeze your glutes because even though you're laying flat, and what Dana taught you with the upper back, now that spine is saying, oh man, I'm safe, I'm protected. You're going to output more strength. So we want to drive the feet into the ground, right? We don't want to be dancing around. But if we get plates up, you can drive into those plates. Dana, you want to grab just 245s? Yep. We'll grab the rubbers just so they can see.
Okay.
So the rubber plates obviously are a little bit thicker, right? So you can always set up, you put them where your heels are going to be, your feet go on the plates, you know, if you can't reach. Okay, so we'll set those up over here. And if you see, we'll put one there. So watch when Dana lays down to bench, right? And you could stack more than one, right? If you have trouble reaching, we want those feet to be pushing, you know, push, stabilize the spine. So notice Dana here now, right? Now she
Push
can
them
really,
back just a little bit more.
okay, and that's it. See how she adjusted them? You kind of find where you need them. And now it's a lot easier, right, Dana, to push into?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Make sense on that, guys?
Yep.
So that's one thing I guess my mind doesn't get. When Cage or Dana say push through your legs, I don't feel any power going through my legs, so what am I doing wrong?
I would say, even if you're not pushing, squeeze your glutes and just make sure the toes are not moving around.
You want it flat or you want it on your toes?
Depends on if you can reach, like even that, when I'm laying on the bench, you know, right? I could keep them flat. A lot of times I'll keep them flat and squeeze. I'm pushing right here. You can keep your toes too, but the main thing, don't dance around.
Yeah.
Don't dance around,
I
right?
feel like my feet are light when I'm lifting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but try that. Go ahead later.
Try this. And think about, too, it's pushing yourself away from the bar, pushing yourself into the floor and into the bench as you're pressing the weight up.
I push my heel, is that okay?
That's fine.
As long as you're pushing something, yeah. Does that feel better on the plates, Rudy?
Yeah, because now I feel
Yeah.
Like you're more,
tired.
yeah.
So a lot of you might have to use them. That's fine.
You want to, push through as hard as you can. Think about pushing away from it, away from the bar as you're going up. Okay.
Right. It's just like the concept with the push-up. Something I teach the kids is it's usually not it's a core stability problem. Why their back is all over and if they squeeze their glutes when they're doing a push-up, now the spine, because you think about the spine, think of this as your pelvis, the spine sits in there. Think of this as a bucket of cement. You tighten that up, now all of a sudden the spine is stable. And all of a sudden, man, I can move. Like Dana said, the plank at the top of the kettlebell. Moving plank, like if we're doing a push-up, right? But that transfers over to here.
Yeah.
So any other questions on that? Like, because then we're going to practice.
Yeah. I know, Christina, you mentioned earlier about just where should the feet be? Should they be in front, behind? And you're going to see people doing it a little bit different. I know personally I feel better digging my toes into the floor. I feel stronger there and coming back a little bit. So if I were to move these and I'm setting up, I feel better here. Now for some people, if they're really tight, that might not feel comfortable. Sometimes people are pressing and they'll get like a Charlie horse, right? Or they'll feel like they like tighten up in there. So that person might not want to be as pulled back as far. So I would say play around with it and see where you feel the strongest, where you can drive. You said your heels, right? For you, that's where you feel the strongest. So don't be afraid to play around with the different positions and see what feels best for you.
One other thing before we practice. Again, just keep asking questions if you have. There's something like I call an energy leak, right? So again, think if you're throwing a punch, then your wrist is like this. I go to hit Rebecca, right? You're not going to be able to keep your wrist perfectly straight on this, but you should still be squeezing, like Dan's saying, squeeze the bar, squeeze your hands, right, to do that. If this is all loosey-goosey, no stability, again, what happens to your strength? It goes down. The first summer when I opened the first facility, I used the fat grips because I wanted to get my bench press up. The only change I made is I put fat grips on every exercise I could use them on. Didn't matter what it was. Fat grips. If I could use them, I was doing them. And because of that, right, because now you're forced to stay here and it hits a lot more stabilized, my bench went up like 50 pounds that summer just by using fat grips on everything. Okay, so just think of that. Don't be all loose here. Like, your hand is so tied in your grip to your nervous system, right? The stronger your grip is, the same thing like the core stability, the stronger you're going to be on every exercise. Like, and we always, I'd say it joking, but not joking, your grip can save your life, right? And there's actually studies with that the stronger your grip, the longer the average lifespan, right? If there's no accidents. And Dana tell them what happened to you the other day.
Oh, all right. So I have wooden stairs in my house, and I was at the top, and Elise was downstairs on the couch, and I went to say something to her. I just had socks on, so I like leaned on the edge of the stair, and I just lost my balance and went, and I grabbed the railing, and it literally like moved. So we have to tighten the screw back in there. But honestly, it did. It would have been bad. And I was just able to, I'm thankful for my grip. I grabbed it and I was able to like save myself. I scared the crap out of myself and Elise, and she's just like, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm like, I'm good. You know, little, I don't know, banged up in the back there, just the way I gripped. But, you know, if I don't have that strength, I'm going down.
She could have broken bones, tore her knee, whatever.
It could have been
way worse, right?
So, yeah, it does
It's a real
save
life
your
example.
life. Yeah. So when we do all those, you know, back grip holds and barbell holds and plate, you know, there's a reason for it.
So tied into your brain health too, your hands.
Yeah.
Another question is you made me think of it. Like, I see a lot of people cock their wrists back. I think it feels initially like you can lift more as opposed to like rotating more forward. Like, what's the right position?
So if you're squeezing it, right, you'll see this when we're practicing, you're not going to be able to keep it, like I said, perfectly straight. It just won't work. Right, so I'm not going to, there's no weight, right? So but if I get a little weight on here, I want to have them as close to here as I can. Where you go here, look at that. That's an energy leak, right? That's not as strong as this, right? So you also think, we've been teaching the kids, the more, like I think of a push-up, you see a lot of the kids do this. They're trying this. What's wrong with that? Yeah, but you think, right, a real simple thing to think, the more you can stack your joints, the stronger you're gonna be, right? So even think about that, Renee, with the bench. If we're here, right, we wanna try to get that wrist lined up. If it's all coming in the same line, right, we're stacking everything together. But you play around with it and see what feels good for you. But if you're squeezing it, they're not gonna be here. There's no way. Right, so you just squeeze it and then pull the bar like Dana said.
You almost want to lock everything. Lock your wrist, lock your back,
Yeah,
lock
that's
your glutes.
totally. You're stabilizing.
Just isolate your triceps.
Yeah. It's pushing movement, and then the triceps is the biggest bulk of this lift. Mm-hmm. You guys want to try it now? We'll try it and then kind of assess. So we got, you can use 4 or 5 benches. You can have a partner if you want. Do the bar first. Right, see if you need plates, but do the bar and then we'll start adding some weight. Okay, just get your form right with the bar. Make sure your eyes are set up, like Dana said. Get your eyes set up the right way. All right, so are your eyes right under the bar? Yeah, you're good there. Yeah. Okay. How's that grip feel as far as the width? Yeah?
I'm sorry? Yeah.
Tends to happen to me.
Yeah, and I think you're a little wider, slightly wider on this side. I like your nails. That's cool.
Yeah.
So now you're a little too far in on
a
this
little
side.
higher
So like your
for
thumb
you,
is right.
but that's okay.
So just make sure
Yeah,
it's
just a
even, right?
little bit.
So racket, I'm going
That's
to show you a
okay.
little trick.
Just
What I like to do is like this part of my thumb,
good. And then so
I'll
what I
usually
want you
put
to think
right
is notice
there.
where your hands are.
and then
Right,
when I
so
wrap
let's
it,
wrap-
so I usually go
wrap
like
it.
that.
And then we'll
I
bring
do
it
that
to
on
the
that
front.
side, so now
Go ahead,
then I
roll
wrap
to
my
the
thumb.
front,
So
and
now I
then
know I'm
use this rough and smooth part to kind
Yeah.
of figure out
It's a good little
that
way to just
distance.
set
That way
yourself up
you're
pretty quick.
It happens a lot where people will be a little bit off.
Keep those shoulder blades pinched together.
Yeah.
Yeah, practice
Thinking
keeping
about-
those shoulder blades,
remember
bend the
that
bar like
chest.
Dana said. Keep the shoulder blades tight, bend the bar.
Good. When you're bending that bar, think
Good.
about pulling it
If you
down.
feel good
to
with
you,
that, you can
pulling
put
it
on some
down.
weight. We're not going for like a 1 rep max, but you
Good.
can put on,
How's
do a
that feel
couple
for you?
sets. We'll evaluate. Keep those shoulder blades pinched together,
Yeah.
right?
You're gonna feel a lot more stable. The
And
arm
just
will
feel
feel
how
better.
that feels, Rudy, when you unrack
Good.
it, keeping those shoulder blades pinched together. All right, now come down and do a few. It's gonna feel weird at first with your shoulder blades if you're not used to that.
Yeah.
We're bending the bar.
Think about shoulder blades coming back
It might
towards
feel awkward,
into your
right?
pocket.
Do you need a spot on this? You need a spot on this?
Good.
All right. Yeah, yes. Better. So roll the bar forward.
Here,
Right.
and then thumbs,
Yep.
then wrap.
Yep. And then we'll unrack so you get it. Yep.
Wrong way of not.
Keep those shoulder blades pinched
Yeah,
together.
kind of think about
okay?
just being
Want
like
those elbows a
flat.
little
Your
tighter
back's
to the
completely
side. There you
flat.
go. Not,
Your
yeah,
shoulders
it
are
shouldn't
gonna
feel
roll
like
forward.
awkward,
Definitely.
but they're gonna be about
out,
45
and
degrees
I do feel more,
to your body.
let's say, if you want to call it like
Pressure,
pulling
more pressure probably in that front side.
area.
How's that feel?
I
Yeah.
guess because your elbows are flaring out as
Perfect.
opposed to when you keep everything straighter.
How's that
Yeah,
feel, Mike?
and then what that happens is too is when you're flat, right, like that.
Good.
You're out.
Learn to concentrate on
There's not a lot of
That's
room
it,
to
yeah.
move here when the shoulders are coming forward, right? So getting here,
So I would focus on your
be a
shoulder
better
blades
position.
first on the bench.
It's really helpful to, I mean,
Right,
we've all
get
felt
that.
that feeling like doing the band pull aparts, but
I would wrap the
laying
thumb
on the
too.
bench,
and then the palms up.
that actually really helps
Perfect.
to feel,
good.
and then you just kind of like are in that position.
Good. Make sure those hands are even on the bar too. Remember, use that rough and smooth part of the bar to kind of figure out where
Just getting sore
you
there.
want to be.
Oh yeah, you will. Yeah, if your shoulders aren't stable, your shoulders are gonna get banged up.
feels much better.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll notice that if the shoulders aren't stable, that's why a lot of people have issues with their shoulder on the bench. They're not doing it right. The shoulders are just floating.
Kind of squeezing this, you almost want to squeeze your glutes.
Yeah.
It's hard not to squeeze your glutes.
Yeah.
As long as your grip is even,
Body wants to
you
engage.
should be good, right?
Yep, you're
You
creating
should be
tension
good.
throughout the whole body.
Grip,
Same thing with the
shoulder
feet
blades.
too, right? When you're pushing through the
Line up
floor,
the grip.
everything is engaged now from the floor up.
Yeah, and I think when people started telling me that
It's good.
It's gonna be an adjustment.
Yeah, totally. Just like when we teach the kids to do push-ups,
exercise, but
because they keep wanting to go back to this. And I say,
my problem.
corkscrew your arms.
Yeah, I just do them in the bar.
that's what I started doing is the elevation.
Yeah.
It just gives you that awareness with it.
A great way to do that, because that's going to transfer over to this.
Yeah.
You can work on here or at home.
Doing a squat.
Just really focus on the arm
An
position
easy way to
with
do
the
that, right, is
push-ups.
if you were to just take your feet off the
Yeah.
ground and try to push, you're going to feel a huge, massive difference, right? And how
Well-
strong you
I
are
want you to see my
in
Well,
that
let me
press.
show you what I was going to show you, and then we'll do it on the incline, so you can both try this.
Good.
So even, and I've had people progress pretty quickly
Yeah.
doing this. And I
Yeah.
have the kids do this, right?
So I'd say
we're
it's
here.
not necessarily like trying to
squeeze your
activate
butt.
anything. It's more or less just getting you to feel that right position that we want to be
corkscrew
in.
the arms and just work on the negative. Come all the way down 4 seconds.
Cool.
Lay down, I don't care how, and then get back up however you want. Right? So just focus, keeping the elbows in the right position.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even worry about pushing up. Just work on the negative. Just
Yeah.
do the negative. You'll build a lot of strength working on negative.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of it is triceps,
Let me see.
especially as we're coming up at the top of that.
So keep your fingers straight ahead. Right,
know
and
Kyle
then watch
mentioned
this.
it
You
before.
corkscrew, like Dana said.
you want to do a lot of
dial,
tricep work,
right? And that's
you
how
know,
we
to get
want 'em.
stronger in the bench, especially at that lockout, that top position.
Yep.
Now the tricep
Yeah,
is
just
really
do a four- yep,
going to be
4-second
driving that
negative.
weight out.
Right, so
Right, or
really
I should say
focus
up
on when you're
to
keeping
top
that body
position
in a
and finishing
plank.
the movement.
So
Obviously, you're
slow,
going to get
slow.
your
So keep
pec
your butt
and
up a little
chest
higher.
is involved in it,
Good.
but tricep has a
Okay.
lot to do with it. So the stronger we get in
Yeah.
our triceps, the stronger we're going to be in that bench press.
You'll never progress.
Yeah.
You'll never
It's
progress
awesome.
if you do it from
Yeah,
your knees.
the press downs.
Very rarely.
Yeah. Yeah.
show me out
Yeah,
here?
keeping them here, ripping
Is
it
that too
apart at the
high or is
bottom.
that
That's
good?
all tries. It's a great one.
You want to lower one? Or is that good?
I think, yeah, let's try it.
So remember, you still want the bottom of your chest,
so
your nipple
that's
line
what
to
I
hit
think
the
Kyle
ball.
was.
It's always that'll dictate where your feet are. Right, that'll dictate where your feet are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're going to go back
perfect.
a little bit. It's going to be hard to, keep them
I would
right,
walk in a little bit
completely
more, just
locked
come a
out.
little
You're
higher
going to
in
get a
your
little
chest.
bit here.
We'll probably lower the
But
bar
the real
for
goal
you.
is like
Yeah.
just squeezing as hard as you can. I
That's
would say
it.
like white
Let's
knuckling
lower
the
it more.
bar
Just grab that side.
as we pull that down. But yeah, you'll get a little bit
Down one.
of that, that roll.
And that's the way,
back.
like
we
with
don't want to see it
push-ups,
here. Okay.
It's all good.
It's going to be
Just
a lot
like with
weaker,
the
like Kyle
bench,
mentioned with the punch. It's something he explained to me.
Keep track, you know, in
12
your
years
notes,
ago,
if
and it always
you're
stuck with me.
We
He's
got to
like, "Am I
relabel
gonna be
these, but if you're
stronger
at this level and you
here
can get them all,
or here?
then next time go
That's what
down
you want
one.
to think about when we do
Right.
carries, right? Overhead carries, I've seen people go here.
Yeah, you're getting closer to
Right,
that,
that's not a
that
strong
lever
position
arm
for
being
the
full
wrist.
out, right?
Then here
Knuckles
is
up
here,
to the
right?
ceiling.
Yeah.
That's going to be a lot,
Yeah, I'll be able to tell after you
you
do
know,
one.
of a more optimal
Perfect.
position for us. So
That's it.
Okay.
Okay. It,
There-
arm
there's a
position
lot.
looks good.
there's a
Right,
ton.
and
We
that's
were
what
going
you
through it in
just
our training
progress
meeting
like
last
that.
week, and it was like,
You know,
how
those
do we
push-up
cue?
negatives at
How do we
home,
cue
you can work
everybody,
on
right?
those.
What's the best way to cue? And yeah. That's why I said before, it's almost like you got to run through a checklist with the bench press because there's a lot of things that are involved in it. But I would say the main things to keep in mind is, okay, my setup, right, under the bar, because that's where the rep starts.
That's
That's
great.
where the set starts.
Progress.
Okay, my shoulder blades
flare.
in my back pockets, are they packed, nice
I
and
don't know,
stable?
phys ed is
Am I
terrible
pushing my
now.
feet through the ground?
And then I went up
Okay,
to the elevation.
and then we unrack the bar,
More reps,
pulling
yeah.
it down, back up.
to get back to that level.
Yeah,
Yeah, and just think you keep
feel like you can
progressing. I'll
drive
tell you guys
through,
at the
yeah.
end too. Just keep in mind why we're training.
yeah.
But if you keep, like say you
Yeah.
master that and you stay at the same level,
Thing too is like when
you're not going to get any stronger, right? So that's why you guys say, okay, I can do this now. Let me knock it down one. Let me knock it down one, right? But it's just the push-up arm position is the same as this.
you want to push a little, like because you're
Right,
squeezing
you'll be
your
much
glutes,
stronger
like your
doing
legs
that.
wanna also do something. I think when you don't squeeze the glutes, then your legs are
How's that feel, Gabe?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, let me show them something else with the
Yeah.
2x4s real quick.
yeah.
I'll be right back. How's that feel, Gabe?
It's good stuff. Yeah,
I like the plates better.
yeah,
I feel more stable. I'm short, so like I don't know where
Yeah,
to
you-
place anything, and then I feel like I'm stretching out.
stretching, yeah.
Pain? Pain?
I got no room to go.
To go, yeah, yeah. No, use the plates for sure. It's good.
So, like I said, we're gonna have a set. I gotta cut these up today. I got a bunch at home. So we talked about it on the ground, but if you're sometimes it'll just be part of the as we progress on bench. Hey guys, we're doing a 2-board bench or a 3-board. But if you have shoulder issues, like Gabe has a shoulder issue, right? You can't get down there without pain. If we still want to work that movement, so who was using this one? You?
Yeah.
All right, can you hop on there?
You're gonna beat me with that?
Yeah, smack you. So it's a, so you can use the boards, right? And there's a lot of cool stuff we could do with this. And you could always tuck a foam roller too, right? If you're getting pain down here, and we still want to work the pressing movement on this, we limit the range till there's no pain. So I would just be here. So he's doing everything else the same. He's just going to touch the board and come up, okay? Yep, just you set yourself up just like you were, hands, shoulder blades. Okay, touch the board and come back up. So we're limiting the range of motion, right? Now the more boards, so you'll have, each rack will have up to 4 boards. So you have 1 board, 2 board, 3 board, 4 board. Okay, so that's a great thing. Go ahead, rack it. Like even in the NFL, you know, as the guys, or when my buddy Jay was at Rutgers in the season, they get banged up, like the linemen and all that. They still want to maintain strength. They'll use limited range type of stuff, right? Just working on that top range. So you guys can always use these. They'll be out. Like, oh man, my shoulders aren't feeling right today. Yeah. Well, again, as we progress, right, it's a good way also to feel more weight, right? Less range of motion, you can typically use more weight. So there's a lot of ways we could use this. Any other questions? Or Dana, any other insights on the bench that come to mind?
No, do you guys have anything else? Any other questions on it?
So what I noticed with the correction of the arm now and everything, before I was bouncing it off my chest. Now by doing that, I feel like I can ease into
Control,
it,
yeah.
Yeah.
push off. Before I was using that bounce
Yeah.
to get that momentum going, and then my arms would flare.
Flare out, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
trying
when
to
you're
get it
gonna
out the bottom.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's when you're going to get a shoulder injury
Oh,
benching.
yeah, I felt the shoulder too.
yeah.
Any other questions on that, guys? We're going to have a lot of time to practice, right, with the 5-3-1 coming up. So we'll be testing you towards the end of this month on your hex projected max, right? And then, like I said, every 2 months we'll keep building off these training seminars. Something that will apply to everything too. Like I get a lot of people message me online. What do I have to eat to put muscle on, right? How can I eat enough doing what you teach to put muscle on? They're asking the wrong question. What should they be asking if they want to put muscle on? What should they be asking? Everybody wants to focus, like in that example, how do I get enough protein to put muscle on?
How do I maximize my workout?
Yeah, you're training, right? So most people miss the concept of, and I thought of this when I was talking to the girls over here, training is a stress that you're applying to your body, right? So if you want to get more muscle, we have to continue, because putting muscle on, just like getting a callus, it's a stress adaptation. So when you first start training, it's easier to put muscle on. Everything's new, right? But let's say you keep using the same weight, right? And it depends on why you're training. You know, it depends what your goal is. But if your goal is to get stronger, put more muscle on, if we keep doing the same thing, same weight, same reps, all that, once your body adapts, why would it keep putting muscle on? So online, I tell guys, like, well, let me see what your training looks like. Most people don't train hard enough to put muscle on, right? It's not necessarily a natural thing to do, right? So we got to vary that. So think of all the ways, and you'll see it in the workout, just so you guys have more knowledge. Like there's a maximal weight that anybody can, like you can't just keep going up in weight. There's going to be a ceiling. Even if you're the strongest person in the world, there's a ceiling. So a couple of things, like strength leads to endurance. Okay, so strength, the stronger you get, now the more weight you can use on the higher rep stuff. So variables that you'll see within workouts as we keep going to continue to alter the stress response. Obviously reps, sometimes there's speed of movement. I say, guys, 3-second negative. There's intensity techniques, right, or stuff like just isometric contractions, right, where you're just squeezing. Think of like a pile of sand. And your brain is the same way, right, with thought patterns. If I keep pouring a cup of water from the same angle, keep refilling, pour. Those divots, right, it's just going to be the same ones. They're going to get deeper and deeper, right? And that's like your nervous system and your brain. So when training, now you got to move the angle. Well, it's going to feel awkward at first, right? But you're applying a new stress, right? Applying a new stress to it. And then those will get deeper, right? So there's a whole bunch of variables of training. It depends what your goal is. Dana's got the High Rocks group starting up, right? Mm-hmm. That's a specific thing they're training for, right? So that then their training is geared at that. So always just keep in mind, what's the purpose of your training? For me, a lot of times now it's just my mind, right? So I'm not as concerned about, okay, I got to put muscle on or whatever, right? So be clear on what you're doing, why you're doing it. If you have goals that shift, we're going to be having, me and Dana came up with a cool system for you guys setting your goals. Like each coach is going to kind of have a team, and it could be other goals too. It doesn't have to be, you know, fitness or health or strength goals. But always think, if your goals are shifting, tell a coach, right? There's stuff extra that we could give you to do at the end or whatnot. And anytime you guys change your angle too, the grip, that's a new variable, right? So it could even be as little as that. Okay, now I'm going with this angle. Does that make sense? So it's a stress response. You're trying to stress the body to adapt. Anything else, Dana?
No, I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You'll get something from today. Yeah.
Well, Dana will put out too before the next one. Maybe we'll do a little survey, see if there's anything specific. Obviously, we'll hit some of the lower body stuff more. But if there's anything, like, doesn't matter what it is, if there's an interest you have with training, we'll definitely cover that.